What's up, y'all? This is Dr. Craig Waleed, your host, here on the Prison to Promise podcast, where I explore strategies formerly incarcerated people use to avoid returning to prison. On this episode, I'm joined by none other than the brother Erik Burgess. When Erik Burgess was released from prison in 2009 after serving 18 years out of what was originally a life without parole sentence for a nonviolent drug crime, he knew he was never going back. Instead, through a combination of tenacity, good fortune, and education, Erik stabilized his life and moved forward. At that point, he decided to focus on helping others cope with the stress of reentry. I consider Erik as a sage who has significant wisdom and insight to share about how to readjust your attitude and realign your life despite the impact of incarceration. You don't want to miss this episode.
I can't complain. I had a very prosperous childhood, raised by my grandparents, spoiled rotten, only boy. So basically I got everything I wanted as long as I was obedient. I didn't start becoming disobedient until I got older.
Yeah, I know the story.
Right. So obedience is really everything, man. It comes along with attitude. As long as I got good grades, I got everything and anything I wanted, So, but as I got older, I think I can't say being spoiled and being showered probably with materialistic things at a young age probably compelled me to want materialistic things of greater value in life. So as I got older, I chose to be involved in, unfortunately, selling drugs, while I was working. But, that's no excuse. I don't blame the system. So I just didn't have the right attitude, to become successful another way. I thought I was chasing the American dream, in a different format. Like I said, I don't blame the system. I don't blame anyone else. I told my grandfather, you didn't do anything wrong. You raised me to be a good man. I just made a, undesirable choice, which no one agreed with. He didn't agree with. He always said, I raised you better than that. But I got incarcerated from Detroit, Michigan, born and raised. Got incarcerated on a conspiracy to delivering over 650 grams of cocaine in Michigan. Got sentenced in 1991, and back then it was like mandatory life without no parole. So I was sentenced that was really the death penalty in Michigan. I was sentenced as like I actually killed someone.
That's harsh, man.
Right. So it was hard to accept, but like when I went up for parole, the young lady who initiated parole here, and she was like, "Don't you know people set their mother up in this game here? You lucky, you could have been dead or anything like that." And I said, "I know, I said, I told her I could make a promise to myself and my grandfather who's sitting here that I'd never return back to any type of criminal activity." I was released once they modified the law through Family Against Mandatory Minimums. I was released March 31st, 2009, about 9:30 in the morning. I know exactly that.
Wow.
So I did 18 years from 1991 to 2009. Came home, started off, went to community college. After that, transferred to a 4-year university and graduated with a Bachelor of Science degree in psychology in 2019. Been having the same job, same occupation since 2000, how long been? 2010, and the same manufacturing quality, but I'm trying to transition off of that. My passion is, and I think I'm obligated to help someone else not to become a returning citizen. We always talk about returning citizen, but I think sometimes it's too late. So I'd like to try to help someone who won't become a returning citizen.
That's deep.
Right. So being proactive instead of reactive. So right now, I built a platform called the Returning Citizen, a co-creator called the Returning Citizen Platform, which is a storytelling platform that same thing you were doing. I want to commend you, Dr. Ali, for exposing these stories of plight and triumph also, because where there's pain, there's also purpose.
Absolutely.
Right.
And we build purpose and prosperity out of pain.
Right. So I'm compelled to help someone else to share my story as other stories that we can infiltrate this draconian system, man, that's really just overtaking our youth of all races. It don't have to be just black race, white race, or Asian race, because crime is faceless.
Absolutely.
As you see, crime is faceless. You see with this Ukraine and Russia situation, I think it's uncalled for. That's just my opinion. I'm not gonna get too deep off into that situation.
Right.
So that's politics. But to become successful, it's only one thing I try to tell my daughter is to become successful. Somebody said if I had advice, some type of small tidbit for a returning citizen when they come home, I just think it's just attitude. I mean, it's nothing more, nothing less. Once you change your attitude, people not change. They want to accept me for this. They want to accept me because I'm an ex-felon. Sometimes you just have to have the right attitude.
Yeah. And you mentioned earlier in your discussion about you not having the right attitude at a younger age.
Right.
Can you talk a little bit about that? What was that wrong attitude?
I think that the world owed me. I was spoiled, so I wanted everything right there, the instant gratification. So the right attitude, not to be able to foresee the negativity that that you're causing yourself. It's really self-inflicted.
Right.
It's really self-inflicted. So I didn't have the right attitude. I mean, I didn't use drugs or anything. I wasn't out there wild trying to hurt anyone. I just started selling drugs. It's just a fast way, to make some money.
That's all. That American dream.
Right. Which is an American nightmare, but we all know.
Absolutely.
Right. That's another side to the story.
Absolutely. Once we go through the crap, we realize it's a nightmare.
Right. But I think prison kind of shaped my values and morals of becoming a man.
Can you talk about that?
Once you have everything taken away from you and what we equate sometimes manhood, what it actually is, sometimes we equate, by instinct, we more of a hunter. We are hunters as men. So once we are no longer able to hunt for the things that's satisfactory to us, you have to rely just on your character. Right. And it takes, character is not built overnight. It's come through experience. You have to learn how to react to situations, what not to
unlearn some stuff too then.
Right. You have to really just peel off the layers. Peel off the layers of what you think was becoming a man. Different experiences. It's making me a man to have a lot of women. It's making me a man to have a lot of money. So how we equate and attach ourselves to things that's unstable. Dignify yourself as a man.
Yeah.
Right.
As you mentioned that, it reminds me of this not a podcast, but a documentary I watched over the weekend called "The Feminist on Cell Block Y." And what the documentary was doing was deconstructing these false senses of masculinity from a feminist perspective and helping men understand that it's important not to take advantage of people or to think that you are supposed to be in control simply because you are a man.
Right.
All these masculine, machismo, particular ways of approaching life, which is oftentimes offensive to women, children, and other men as well. Because we're oftentimes trying to dominate other people instead of being compassionate and empathetic.
Right. And have sympathy towards one another.
Yeah, and sympathy.
Like you said, it comes with attitude. You have to change it regardless. Each individual to change. You have to change your attitude, period.
And I wonder, Eric, if that impulsive, bad attitude, desire to get stuff instantaneously or as fast as we can, if that's something that's most prevalent amongst young people, or would you say that's something that's across the board?
I believe until we learn become mature and go through that maturation process. I think it's prevalent more among young people, especially nowadays, because they're exposed to so much, exposed to so much and so quick. Like I said, half the young people now don't even have any type of social skills. They can sit 2 feet away from each other and still text each other.
Right. You see that?
Right. Right. And then also the way you text sometimes is the way you speak.
Yeah.
Right. So I don't know. You talking about IDK and what TK or TY. Thank you. I mean, the way you speak. So it's not. I don't think technology sometimes. I think hinders our progress and how to just how to socialize. You can do business on laptop, which I think anything that can enhance our ability to communicate and gravitate towards each other is positive. It's just everything is here to be used. You get in trouble when you misuse certain things.
Absolutely.
Right. Your freedom. When you misuse your freedom, you get in trouble. So if you misuse, I'm just saying, I done seen in prison, if you misuse your phone privilege, they get taken away. Right. If you use your visit. So we have to learn how to use things in the right way for the right reasons, and then you get the right results.
Absolutely.
Right. So I think that's a problem. I think I can't say it, but the majority of children, I think, have a problem with just focus on being instant gratified, because as a child, your brain is not fully developed.
Right. Not until about 25.
Right. If then. Right. To understand, it's not all about I want it right here, right now. My grandfather would say, "Pie ain't gonna fall out the sky. You do it or get off the prize."
You got to go get it.
Right.
Right.
Now I have 2 jobs. I'm married. I have a son. I have a stepdaughter. So I'm blessed. Because I think my attitude and I'm more humble.
Yeah.
I'm more humble. Humility. That's that. That's the inner spirit within us. We all have it. We all have it. But sometimes we just don't exercise it.
And sometimes we have to develop it and realize that we have it. And you mentioned that, and I think that's so key. That humility and understanding that inner person. What would you say are some ways of developing that inner person, that humility, that ultimately helps you make better decisions?
First of all, I think it can be self-respect. What I mean by self-respect, just doing the right thing, for the right reasons. It comes along with experience, So it comes along with you get out of prison. Just change your attitude. You won't go back. Times might be hard, but it's called self-sacrifice. You have to sacrifice. Sometimes you have to become selfless, and I think that's the key. We don't learn how to become selfless. In prison, my wife told me, and I had to take a look at it, that you are selfish. She said not selfish as monetary wise, but selfish as time wise. And I say, I don't think so. But she said, you are. I say, well, unfortunately, I could have developed that habit, unfortunately, in prison, because sometimes you end up by yourself. You don't be with a crowd. You by yourself, or just you and your bunkie in there in the same cell or whatever. So sometimes we may develop these unnatural habits that we have to take time, to break out of and detach ourselves from that. So I think that's first of all, we have to become selfless. It's hard. It's hard because by nature we all are selfish.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, so we have to become selfless, which is it's very difficult. That's why they teach kids, you share, so you come out that selfless stage of mind, but
sometimes a lot of curriculums now they're teaching kids the social emotional learning, so they should be selfless and more.
Right. It's hard. It's hard.
Absolutely, and that was, you said a mouthful, and you hit the nail on the head for me. Because that's something that I struggle with myself, not being selfish. And I've been out the joint over 24 years,
Right.
I still have to struggle with that. I got a wife and 2 kids, and a dog. And it's like, I just want to go and lock up in my room and study and write and think, but I'm like, I got people out here that I'm connected to. I need to
Right.
spend some time with them, and not let my wife always say, "Hey, come on, let's do this."
Right.
But if she don't do it, I'm content some days just in my room. Read,
Right, people,
right?
right? Because sometimes that's what you're used to, unfortunately, but that's one thing that it's part of growing. That's
Yeah.
all it is. It's
Go from cradle to grave, right?
right, right. It's all a part of growing. It's all a part of growing.
You,
Now,
you talked about that whole growth process, and so coming out of the joint, man, what do you think was some of your biggest challenges, be they with yourself or with readjusting to certain aspects of the society?
my biggest adjustment, I was grateful and appreciate I had a lot of family support. That's first and foremost. That was very imperative
Mm,
because you also have changed and they also have changed.
mm,
So my biggest challenge, man, I'm trying to see, and I like to conquer my challenges.
absolutely.
I like to conquer my challenge.
They
It
make you
really,
stronger.
and I have to say my transition was hard because I have family. I think my biggest challenge was the how I be involved in relationships.
Mm,
Right. I think that's one because you have to you have to learn how to communicate differently. You
yeah,
have to learn, yeah, just your whole persona just, have to change now, because uh and there,
relationships are different.
you communicate differently, culture, develops, your habitat. So you're in a different culture now, it's a different experience. You have to learn how to communicate with your family. You got to
Hmm.
learn how to build relationships on the job
Yeah.
and this relationship period. So I just had to learn how to build those constructive relationships.
Hmm.
Right. That's
So
what
yeah, I'm hearing that those relationships was like the big challenge in building constructive relationships. Because what it sounds like, and I think I'm speaking from experience too, because your upbringings and mine are similar in many regards. We
right.
had resources, we went to school, we had people that took care of us. But when getting into prison, I think some of the good stuff that had been poured into us, we had to deconstruct that and kind of put that on the shelf because
Right.
that wasn't going to help us successfully navigate in prison.
Exactly.
But then those things become such a habit that now when you get out, those things that you were taught were there, but it's hard to bring them back down. You know?
Exactly. You
Yeah,
be ready to confront. You be ready to confront someone. Like
yeah,
uh, if you come in a very disgruntled atmosphere or confrontation, you like, are you willing to just walk away from it, or are you willing to prove like, oh, I just came from the joint? Who you talking? Who you
right,
talking to, whatever. You end up going back. That's what I'm saying. The right attitude.
right. Or getting killed out there.
That don't mean that you weak. It really just means that you smart. You stronger.
Right,
You,
right.
it mean that you stronger.
That's part
Right.
of the attitude adjustment you talking about.
Right. You're stronger because you have conquered your weakness.
Yep.
Right. Right. And so that's really make you stronger. So you just want to walk away. I mean, and walk away at work. It's a lot of things that you may have to, take.
Yep.
When you got to, you got to be able to feel comfortable in an uncomfortable situation. That's how I put it.
That's where growth comes, man. I
Right.
sometimes use the analogy of lifting weights or doing pull-ups. It's resistance, but the more we work through that resistance, the stronger and more endurance we develop. You know, because we're working through that resistance, and it's the same with these life situations. When we work through these uncomfortable situations, we become more capable to navigate them the next time
Right.
versus putting our hand in it or yelling or screaming.
Or yelling or screaming like,
Yeah.
who are you talking to? You got that mindset. Who you talking to?
Right. But
All right.
I learned to leave the circus for the clown. I don't
That's
want to
it.
be looking at the
That's
clown.
I don't have time for it.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, as they say that drama for your mama. I'm straight.
Absolutely, man. So, man, like, at what point, like, when you were in the penitentiary, did you start thinking about how you're going to change your life? And, like, what were the things that you did?
Day one, 'cause I knew what I had to do, man. Life without no parole. My goal was to get in that law library, trying to get up out of here, man. Do what I can.
Lady
Right.
told me, she said, people don't believe fat meat greasy, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
That grease on your shirt, you're like, oh, I gotta get this off me.
Right.
Yeah.
So day one, man. I mean, because I wasn't, I wasn't illiterate. I had no type of disorder would make me hinder to understand or people understanding what's right and what's wrong.
Right.
I'll do it. Hey, all you do is got to tell me once. I'm straight.
Yeah.
I'm getting out of here. Lady talking about officers. You won't. By the time you get out of here, hell gonna freeze over. I said, yeah, well, you might have to make a snowball because I'm getting up out of here.
Give you some time, but you got up out of there for sure.
Right. Yeah, by the grace of God, man.
You're fortunate. And man, if I could go back a little bit, because I think you you talked about some very important things that I would love for people to hear. And one is you talked about going to college. How did college put you in a position to win or in a position to have a better life despite having a felony on your record?
It gave me the formal education, but also it educated me to accomplish something. Right. So it gave me the gratitude and self-respect for myself, because I was going to college in there. I was working in doing GIS, was geographical interface system. I was digitizing maps and all that. So I always had the further my education. So I knew becoming more educated would further me as far as the career I wanted to choose. And also it's the intangibles you do not see, right, as far as education, because you're gonna have to study,
right?
You have to go to school, and then that's going to eliminate a lot of your downtime or idle time, right, that you may have and want to end up doing something that's contrary to what you believe in.
Right. The research says that people who go to college have less chances of going back to the penitentiary. So it's a factor.
Right. It's a lot of things that you don't look at. A lot of things like, they don't you build discipline going to college. If you're going to finish, you build discipline. You build social skills, you build communication skills. A lot of things that you don't see that you just like prison though. Once you go in there, sometimes you take on that culture that you didn't see, like I said, becoming selfish. You didn't see yourself becoming selfish because that's just your habitat that you was in. Now you change your whole atmosphere, your whole habitat. You're around individuals that's doing something for themselves, and you learn how to socialize. You pick up study habits, right? You become disciplined, right? More, you know how to utilize your time constructively. So it's a lot of things that we don't see that prison educate you in other ways, just besides a formal education. Right.
And when I think about education too, I think about the origin of the word, and it comes from this word "educere," that means to bring forward, to bring out that which is already within.
Right.
And so, I think a lot of these natural gifts and talents that we already have just become sharpened by the academic exercises,
Exactly.
So, you also talked about family support, man. How important is family or other support for somebody that's getting out the joint?
Tremendously. And ones who's getting out who have family support, one thing I can tell you, just don't misuse family support.
Like everything else you talked about misusing. Don't misuse it.
Because sometimes we like, oh, my family wasn't there for me, they ain't never come see me. All right, that's what I'm saying, attitude, but now you need them. Don't, all right, I understand that y'all didn't come see me. I know, y'all might have been disappointed, whatever, I'm not even going, that's hindsight, you know what I'm saying? That's right. That's become a family. Unfortunately, all families are dysfunctional. Somewhere we all don't get along, right? But family, that's where you form your first relationship. That's where the daughter looks at her father, looks in a potential mate for her father when she see the things the things that she see how her father treated her mother, or whatever the man, whatever whoever's the man in the household. So she also that's how her first love for a man is through her father, and that's probably her first potential mate will be like someone like her father if if he's positive. And same thing with the man. He looks at his father the way he treats his mother,
Yeah.
right? So family is extremely important to our survival, to our adaptation, to our how we build. Like I said, all family, we don't all get along sometimes. That that's life. You don't get along with everybody, but we have to learn how to, bury them disagreements, man, and stick with one another. Because one day we all get a phone call. Well, did you know such and such passed? Your brother passed. Your
Yeah.
sister passed.
Yeah.
And I hate to see this. Unfortunately, I'm not trying to get off track, but you see when the mother or father pass or something, everybody become antagonists towards one another.
A lot of
And,
time. A lot of time.
right. And I don't understand why. Your mother gone, your father, your brother gone. So why are we creating this undesirable atmosphere or whatever, cussing each other out? They didn't ever come over. They want this. They want that. And, I,
You're fighting
and
over
it's
what lies
unfortunate.
left behind.
Right. Right. We had to come together as
Yeah.
family. We had to come together now as family and try to build. We got nieces and nephews. We're not going to be here forever, so they're going to have to take over our legacy, or we got to teach them how to become. If we're not tight knit as a family, we want to show them how to become tight knit as a family.
Yeah. 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 So family is so important.
Integral, very imperative, very imperative.
Yeah. Some people don't have family. So what would be some other ways that they can get support, you think?
I think maybe churches, maybe churches. I mean, if they faith based, it depends on their faith. Some people may not have, believe in their faith. Community groups, counseling, non-profit organizations. It's a lot. If you want help, you can get it.
It's
If
out
you
there.
right, it's out there, but it depends. You gotta go look for it. You gotta go look if you want help. Just like you got yourself involved in this criminal activity, you know how to commit a crime or
Yeah.
right. You can learn how to commit constructive relationships.
Yeah, man. And like the old mamas and wives saying is, closed mouth don't get fed.
Right. Oatmeal beat no meal. That's what I'm saying.
And it's showing up the truth. It ribs, boy. Yes, sir.
You're right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So as we get ready to close out, Erik, I really appreciate just you taking
Anytime.
rapping with me. And I'm sure the people that listen to this will get an earful and their souls should be edified because I think you dropped a hell of a lot of jewels here today.
Yep, I appreciate it.
Yeah, I appreciate you, man. One of the things you talked about earlier was your storytelling platform. Can you tell folks how they can find that platform, where they can look for that at?
Let's go returningcitizen.org. We've been like off and on for the last 4 or 5 years. I think we probably go more virtual now, due to the COVID situation,
Yeah.
things of that nature. Unfortunately, a lot of positive things came out of this COVID situation as far as how we communicate with each other more around the world, with people sharing, their stories, their lives, and things of that nature. I think it gave us more awareness of how others are suffering out there too, as well, not just on their own community. I think just nationwide, and unfortunately, America, right? United States have a very huge population that have been incarcerated, and unfortunately, people are still going to prison.
Mm-hmm.
And so we just need to have people who have empathy and sympathy and concern about the situation. People, who don't know anything about incarceration, who have never been incarcerated, or don't know anyone as being part of incarcerated. If they just want to get on the podcast, my podcast, your podcast, any platform, and then just, share this. How can I learn? What's going on? We just need more people outside these prison walls, just to get involved and try to understand, our plight and their plight also. Believe me, everyone has a plight. Everyone has a plight. We all have tried to walk walk straight on the crooked line, as they say.
Absolutely. And all of us have also experienced some form of trauma.
Exactly.
And so there's various ways to get through and over that trauma that is constructive and that can help us grow.
Mm-hmm.
So that's another reason why I try to collect these stories and share them to help other people understand that there's a variety of ways of addressing their own trauma, their own losses, through listening to stories such as yours, mine, and other people who are on my platform. And so again, your platform is, what is it?
The Returning Citizen Podcast.
The Returning Citizen Podcast.org.
Exactly.
Right. And if people wanted to reach out to you, man, for any particular reason, is there any social media or email, anything you got that people can holler at you at?
Yes. It's E.T. Burgess, 2014 at yahoo.com.
E.T. Burgess. How do you spell Burgess?
Burgess. B as in boy, URGESS. 2014 at yahoo.com.
Okay.
Now I will respond.
Right on. Yo, man, it's been a pleasure. If you or someone you know would like to share their story on this show, or would like to leave a comment or suggestion, drop me a line using lowercase letters at DrCraigWaled, D as in dog, at gmail.com. That's Dr. Craig Walid at gmail.com. Thank you.